Hey everyone, I'm Banjo Obayomi and I'm live at Pluralsight Link 2022. Woohoo!
Hi
Oh,
everyone, my name's Kelly. I'm also live at here at Pluralsight in San Francisco, accompanying Banjo.
yes, and one of the biggest things I always hear people is talk about is like, how do I get into tech? Now, personal stories are very unique because they only come from one person, and it's a way to inspire people at scale by telling a personal story and getting people interested in tech. So I really wanted to understand Kelly's journey and how she got into tech. So Kelly, can you start us off with like, what made you interested in a career in technology?
Absolutely. So first of all, my younger brother was a software engineer. So when he graduated university, I saw him, become successful almost immediately. Not so much with my path and what I studied, but essentially, I was actually in a YC startup school lecture one day back in 2018. And I think it was Paul Graham that was lecturing that day. And he had said something to the effects of, oh, if you're in this classroom and you're wanting to build your startup and you're a non-technical founder, your job for the first year of your startups is to get your technical founder coffee. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting anyone coffee. I don't even drink coffee. So, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm like, okay, I really need to take this seriously. Let me just start to learn how to code. And I went to a software engineering school that was backed by the same accelerator, and that's what started my journey.
Wow, so hearing that speech really motivated you. Okay, I need to learn tech. So like, how did you start that process of like, all right, I need to learn tech? So you talk about like how that started.
Sure. So the boot camp I found was exactly what I needed for myself at the time. I had just came back to the States from living overseas, and my goal was to not take out any debt and to become debt free. And the school at the time offered a financial plan that matched what I was looking for, so I wouldn't have to take out any student loans. And that's what got me into that particular school.
So
And go ahead.
yeah, so when learning, were there any kind of obstacles you challenged when you were in this boot camp learning the tech? Like, what were some of those obstacles you faced?
Yeah, there were a lot of obstacles. But looking back, I think that when I compared that to my previous struggles, it wasn't as hard. So like to me, it was harder living paycheck to paycheck versus learning how to code. But there were times when I did feel really imposter syndrome. And when I got like that, I reached out to people that were in my same cohort, and I was fortunate enough to have those people in my circle and to uplift me and just keep me going.
Yeah, having a strong community is unmatched. So that's awesome. You were able to leverage that. So
For sure.
when you finished your boot camp, can you talk about the process of like getting your first job, or like what was that like? Did you want to get a first job in tech? Like how was that process like?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the hard part. So after you study your coding curriculum, the hard part, I feel like, because it's the most emotional part, is getting that first job. And when I was still a student, what I noticed was a lot of the recruiters were saying to our alumni, hey, yeah, we don't want to hire you because you don't have any experience. So I told myself, no, that is not going to be me. I'm not going to repeat the same cycle that I did when I was in university. When you graduate and you don't have a job. So what I did was I just got a job right then and there. When as I was a student, I just created my own job, and I started doing technical writing, and then I did it on Medium, and then the technical publications on Medium started to reach out to me to ask if I could start writing for them. And I started going to meetups, and then got another tech writing job for Career Karma, and I started working there. But essentially, like what I told myself and what I like to tell others is, don't wait for permission. Don't wait a company to give you permission to be a software engineer or a data scientist. Just go be a software engineer or a data scientist. Just start from a baby step and start climbing your way up.
I love that. Iteration is so key. So just go out and start building, and then
Exactly.
opportunities will come to you as you build. That's amazing. So what is your role now that you've gone through this journey? What are you doing right now?
So right now, I'm in my second day at a company called ANSYS, where thank you, where we specialize in simulations. So yeah, I'm working as a lead developer advocate there, and so far I'm loving it.
Now that's awesome. So what advice would you give to people that also want to start their technical journey and be awesome just as you, Kai?
So I would say just start. There are a lot of free sources out there, so you can see whether or not this path is for you. And don't try to maybe be very, I guess, discriminate in what you're looking for, because tech is a very large umbrella. And even if you are, let's say, going to software engineering school, there are so many different jobs they can get that doesn't have the title of software engineer. It could be solutions engineer, support engineer, technical writer, developer advocate, things of that nature. Just because, and you having that background just opens up so many other doors.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to switch gears, and I want you to ask questions about my journey.
Absolutely.
Personal stories are amazing, so I love to tell mine as well.
Cool. So let's go ahead and ask you what got you interested in tech.
Sure. So for me, it's more of a, I guess, traditional route. I loved video games as a kid, and seeing just being able to have a controller and move something, have a computer mouse, and just creating actions, playing game, having fun. And I really want to know what is powering these experiences that I'm having so much fun with. Why do I love doing this? So that's when I started to studying about, this is computers, computer science. Like you have to be a computer engineer in order to make a game. That was kind of my reasoning of, okay, if I love games, like I need to understand computer science and get into that. So that kind of led me to study that in university.
What do you think was the hardest topic that you needed to learn in university?
Oh, so when you come to university, you're not making games right away.
Right.
You're making like for loops and if loops and programming and doing Java and C, like all these system concepts. So we weren't even thinking about video games, and I kind of like, video games is not even like what computer science is really. So it was just really hard for me to kind of understand all these intersecting topics. And the thing about university is you're doing like they assign you projects and you just build that. So you're really constrained in your freedom. So it was very hard for me to kind of be motivated to do these things when I really didn't care about that.
Right.
But one class in particular, it was a 1-credit class on Ruby on Rails, and we got to make our own project. And when I got to make my own project, I just felt free, and I wanted to learn, and like, how can I solve this problem? And I really studied. So for me, just having the creativity to build what I want to, it just unlocked my thirst for knowledge and of building things. So that really helped me understand how to build applications, what computer science projects are. So I think that's having that freedom to build what you're interested in propels you to learn more.
For sure. Do you have any hacks that you feel like you found looking back that made learning more exciting or easier to grasp?
Yeah, for me, definitely that's building your own project, because if I get stuck in my project, like if I care about it, I'm gonna go the extra mile to figure out how can I do this, how can I implement this. There's no working book how you're gonna build this. When you think of you're building a new project, it hasn't been done before. It's something new. Like you're personally developing this thing, so you personally have to figure out those solutions. So for me, putting a personal stake on how I'm gonna solve this is gonna be useful for me with this learning. That motivates me to try harder, to understand what I'm missing and build solutions that I can understand. So really having that personal effect instead of just having this is assignment 101 and solve this. Like I'm not as motivated to solve that problem versus my own.
Cool. What was your first job after uni, and what are you doing now?
Yeah, so my first job after college was a software engineer at a big defense contractor. So I'm from the DC area, and there's so many defense and government jobs. So it was kind of the natural progression for me. And that job really helped me understand working at a big company, coming from university to software engineer at big companies, completely different skill sets and what you're doing. So a lot of on the job learning. So that was very useful for me to understand the software engineer in the position. But like I said, on the side, I was still building my own projects, and I love building things. So that's really what propelled me to learn more. So I definitely learned more on my own, building projects I was interested in, then doing like enterprise Java development. So that was big for me, and that helped me land my next roles because I was learning on the side so much. So right now I'm a developer advocate at AWS, and that's focused on like how can I influence at scale. So developing workshops, blog posts, content that really make developers excited and want to build their own solutions.
What's your favorite part about working at AWS?
Oh, AWS gives you a lot of autonomy to build solutions how you think is going to help the community. So as a developer advocate, it's a very unique position where I'm not like submitting GitHub requests every day. I'm really like, okay, what content can I create to help the community? How can I collaborate with different people in AWS to help them meet the community? How can I interact with the community, whether it be meetups or Twitter spaces? So you really have a lot of freedom to choose what you think is the best way to influence the community and help them build solutions.
That's interesting. And yeah, totally agree with that. What do you think makes a good developer advocate?
Yeah, developer advocate really comes from the empathy of wanting other people to succeed. So my saying is win and help win. So you have to win to make yourself, you're doing well, you're doing great, but also make sure the community is winning as well. So that's kind of my guiding principle, to win and help win.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think empathy is a good key factor to make any role successful. Awesome.
Yeah, well, I loved our personal stories. I hope this motivates more people to learn more about tech. And I'll be here at Link for the rest of the day. But I'm looking forward to interact with the other people. Thank you.